Welcome to Sacred Heart Prep's version of AP Computer Science A. This is a super fun, engaging class that goes kind of in depth into critical thinking and problem solving. It's one of my favorite things to teach. So if you're here, you're in the right place. Whether you've coded a lot or never seen a single line of code before, you're in the right place. Really, the only prerequisite for this class is that you can recognize that a computer is on or off. If you can do that, then we can get you the rest. There's kind of a big question of where do we start? AP Computer Science A is a pretty in-depth class. It really goes into a lot of critical thinking and problem solving that comes along with learning how to code. Now, AP Computer Science A is taught in a language called Java. This is just one programming language of many. Many of you guys have never seen Java before, or maybe even seen a single line of code before. So we're all kind of starting in different places. And rather than just jumping straight into Java code, we're going to start with something that's a little bit more straightforward. And that's something that we're going to start with is going to be your new best friend here named Karel. Now, this is Karel in the bottom left corner. Karel kind of looks like an old floppy disk. Karel's got two legs popping out of that floppy disk. One of them's kind of sticking back because, you know, Karel's a little sassy. And you might be thinking when I said Karel, oh, kind of the American name Karel, C-A-R-O-L. It's actually K-A-R-E-L. And that's after an old playwright called Karel, who wrote a play called R.U.R. In that play, he coined the term robot for the first time. So our friend Karel is a robot, and we're going to send Karel to do all kinds of really exciting things. Karel actually has a pretty small set of things that they can do, but we're going to use that small set of things to do some pretty cool stuff. So let me tell you a little bit more about Karel. Karel lives in this little world, and the world might look different depending on the problem that we're trying to solve. But what's kind of the same about all of these worlds is they all have walls around the worlds. So you can see there's walls here. Sometimes there's walls in the worlds, so there's some walls here. And Karel's not allowed to actually walk through the walls. What actually happens if Karel runs into a wall? Oh gosh, we've killed Karel. Now, don't worry about it. You're going to accidentally kill Karel probably a lot as you're going through this. But Karel's actually, what I didn't tell you is that they're all powerful. Karel's got infinite regeneration. So don't worry if you kill Karel. Oh no, it's okay. You can cry a little bit and then kind of reset and Karel will pop right back up. Now, that kind of begs the question, oh my gosh, Karel's all powerful. What can Karel actually do? Let's look at some of the Karel commands. So one of the things Karel can do is Karel can move. And I'm not going to let that autocorrect. There we go. Karel can also turn left. And you might be wondering kind of why am I typing them like this? This is because these are how we're actually going to write out the commands. Now you might be wondering, well, if Karel can turn left, what else can Karel probably do? Maybe turn right? Nope. Karel actually can't turn right. Karel can only turn left. Now you might be thinking, well, functionally, we've got to turn right at some point, and that's definitely true. How can we turn right without actually saying to turn right? What Karel's going to do is Karel's actually going to turn left 3 times. So Karel's going to do a little kind of 270-degree turn, which is a little silly, but we're going to make it work. One of the other things Karel can do is Karel can actually interact with some things in their world. So you can see there's this diamond-shaped object here, and we're going to call this a beeper. Now, we're really going to use a beeper to represent kind of any noun in the world. So this is really anything, maybe a piece of technology, or maybe it's a candy bar, or just something that Karel can kind of pick up and put down. So Karel's able to, like I just said, pick up and put down beepers. So we have a command called pickBeeper and a command called putBeeper. Now, you might be wondering, when Karel kind of picks up the beeper, where does it go? What you didn't know about Karel is that Karel kind of has a beeper bag. It's kind of like this magical Santa Claus bag. And you might be wondering, how many beepers are in Karel's beeper bag? Well, it depends a little bit on the problem. Maybe Karel starts with 0 beepers in the bag. Maybe Karel starts with 10. Or sometimes, because Karel's all powerful, Karel actually starts with infinite beepers in the bag, which is kind of fun. In this case, Karel actually starts with no beepers in the bag. So if Karel wants to put down a beeper, Karel's got to pick this one up first. Karel also can't put down a beeper in a different location than where Karel's standing. You can't like throw a beeper across the room. So if Karel puts a beeper right now, there'll be a beeper kind of right in the spot where Karel is standing. Similarly with the pickBeeper, Karel can't pick up a beeper unless Karel is standing kind of right on top of it. So right now, if I tried to pick beeper, or if Karel tried to, we wouldn't be able to do anything. But if Karel moved over here and then tried to pick up a beeper, Karel would be able to do that. And with just these 4 commands here, we can actually do a whole bunch of things. We're going to send Karel to the Olympics. Karel's going to build homes after Hurricane Katrina. Karel's going to climb mountains in the Himalayas. You name it, Karel can probably do it. This really kind of invites some really interesting problem solving. When we're restricted on the number of things we can do, we have to actually get creative about how we can solve problems like this. So what's the very first problem that we're going to solve? Well, here's Karel in Karel's world down here. And what we're going to do in just a second is we're going to help Karel kind of solve a problem that's happened. So Karel's on summer vacation and they're kind of lounging and watching TV. And we're just going to kind of pretend right here, the wall here is their flat screen television. And oh no, what has happened is that Karel's TV remote has actually fallen off their coffee table. So what is it Karel's job to do? Karel's got to pick up the TV remote and kind of put it back on the coffee table. We're not going to worry about why the TV remote is like the same size as Karel. It's all fine. Can we use these 4 commands to do that? I think we totally can. Let's actually write out a list of commands that would make Karel kind of execute what we want them to do. So first, Karel's definitely going to have to move. Actually, probably twice to get us to the spot where the beeper is. Then let's do a pickBeeper. So now I'm here, I've picked up the beeper. Let's move. Uh-oh, what's going to be the issue if we move? We're actually going to go straight into a wall. So what do I have to do before I move? Let's actually turn left. And now I'm kind of facing upwards. Now I can move. And don't worry about the fact that once I move, Karel will be kind of like floating above the coffee table. Remember, Karel's all powerful, except for turning right. Karel still can't do that. So now I'm floating here, and speaking of turning right, what I really want to do is kind of turn right now so I can face this direction. We know that I actually can't do that, or Karel can't do that. So let's turn left 3 times, which again is functionally a turn right. It's just going to look a little bit silly. Now we're here facing this direction. Let's move. And then finally, we're in the right spot. Let's put down our TV remote or our beeper. And then just because Karel's so excited about what's on the television, let's go ahead and let's move 1 more time to get Karel kind of glued right in front of the TV. Whatever it is, it's so exciting. It's the season finale of Survivor or something else. And let me actually run this program. Spoiler alert, I've actually written a little bit of code that we're going to write together in the next video, but I want to show you what this looks like. And what this looks like is Karel moves forward. There's that 270 right here and puts the beeper down. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, that went so fast I couldn't even see it. I can reset and I can actually slow this down for us. So let's go a little slower. Let's start here. And now Karel takes kind of a while to do every step. And you can really see that 270-degree turn in all its glory happening right there. And there we go. You just wrote your first Karel program. What we did is the idea of what's called an algorithm. It's a series of steps where the goal is to kind of do some larger task. And what was the larger task here was to put the remote back on the coffee table. So next time we're going to take kind of this, not quite code, but kind of series of steps that we wrote here and actually turn this into Java code that will make Karel do what we want. And like I said, kind of towards the beginning of this, really what this is all about is problem solving. We only have 4 commands, but we can actually do a lot of things with those if we get pretty creative.